Here is a funny story of how a wife got payback. This happened a couple of years ago. A friend of mine's husband had a nasty habit of buying tickets and scratching them, sometimes spending money they didn't have. So one day, as she was going down the road going to work, she saw her husband's car parked in front of a store that he was really fond of scratching tickets. Now, she had a car that didn't have a spare key. He had an extra key to his car. She hadn't made an extra key yet, but she had the extra key on her. So she sat there, stewed a minute or so, and decided she was going to cause some real confusion. She got out of her car, locked it, went to the other car that belonged to her, also was both of theirs, and took her spare key and started her up. Now, she was going to bring it to work, but then she thought, no, I got to do something that's really going to confuse the guy. So, 2 blocks over, her mother-in-law lived in an apartment. So she takes the car that her husband had been driving and pulled it up in front of her house, walked back down the street, and saw that her husband was still busy scratching tickets. So she went in the store and she's like, we talked about this. This is costing a lot of money. And, I only bought a couple of dollars. I've only been here like 2 minutes. And she's like, they kind of had an argument, but she left. She knew she was going to get back at him. So she walked out of the store and she unlocks her door to her car and she starts getting in. And he goes, "Where's my car?" She says, "I don't know. It's not my day to watch it." So he's like, "But I'm telling you, my car was right out front." She goes, "I don't know. I don't know where that car is. I'm going to work." So she went over to the office where she worked, parked the car, and a very bewildered husband shows up about 10 minutes later. "I think somebody stole my car." And I'm like, who would steal it? It's a piece of junk. It's like 10 years old with 150,000 miles on it, a loud exhaust. Why would somebody bother to steal your car? That doesn't make any sense. Well, I'm going to tell the police I can't find my car. So she's like, okay. So she decided that she would let him stew on it a while. And sure enough, to her surprise, he did call the police. Now, up to that point, it had not been anything but a joke. But now he'd called the police, and she was a little worried. And she's sitting there trying to think of what to do when the phone rings, and it's the police, and they want to talk to her husband. So he picks up the phone, and they said, "Did you go to your mother's today?" And he's like, "Yeah, I stopped there earlier this morning." "Why?" He says, "Well, you left the car in front of her house. We just drove by, and there it was." Well, he looks at my friend, and he goes, "I could have sworn I drove that car to the store. I swear I did." But the police said they found it. Well, she had a good laugh. He scratched his head, walked around all confused for days about it before she finally broke down and told him if he did it again, the next time he'd find it in some place in another town. It's just, I thought it was funny.